with that hot take. Yeah,
I think that's a pretty. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Did that make the cut?
No, I didn't make the cut. Don't worry.
Never...
I mean, you can bring up what your hot take was if you want to. All right. That's probably best left unheard.
That's for
am I still recording?
Subscribers only.
Oh yeah, it's only for our OnlyFans subs. Sub to our OnlyFans for disappointing content.
That's what people need in a time like this.
Exactly.
Because that's how I'm feeling now.
Exactly, and I mean, in a time like this, what is this time? This is the time of the great lockdown, I believe it's called. You're not allowed to leave your house, bucko. Sit the fuck inside. Otherwise you'll kill everyone. And I mean, I've done absolutely sod all since my exams. I watched a lot of anime. I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is Chad, and I watched a lot of the Ghibli movies. I watched all of them. All the Miyazaki ones. So that's all I've been doing.
How many Lil B mixtapes?
I made it through one. No, I haven't made it through any. But Tom, you've been busy working. You've been busy working.
Yeah, I'm a key worker.
Propping up the economy with your strong fucking Chad arms.
I'm really not looking forward to the day where I can no longer use being a key worker as a reason to get stuff and like get treated better by the general public.
I think you're gonna be like the greatest generation.
We should be treated like war veterans.
Exactly, yeah, just like all the war veterans from the Second World War. Everyone's gonna be like, woo, and you'll get like free drinks whenever you go to a pub.
And I'll end up being homeless.
Like Forrest Gump. Or like Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan's loaded in the end, so it's not that bad. And you get cool like prosthetic legs, so swings and roundabouts, you know. But what Charlie XCX did, if you see what I did there, that's called in the biz we call that a segue. She decided to she's obviously feeling a lot of angst, a lot of like tension, a lot of like worries about what's going on in the world, you know, and it can just get all pent up inside. So best to release that creatively through playing music, perhaps, or writing songs, or as Billie Eilish did, she bravely wrote one song in lockdown. Wow.
Yeah, and then I quote tweeted that saying that that Charlie's made a whole album in quarantine.
Yeah,
but only got one
Charlie
like.
made a whole album. Charlie made a whole freaking album.
Yeah, but only got like 3 likes.
This is a society in which we live, Tom.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, it was pretty early in lockdown as well. I think it might have even been in March that she agreed to start making this.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It came out of nowhere. And it's very
had a good, decent rollout.
Okay. Yeah, no, it did actually. It did. Forever was like, she got loads of fans to record stuff for that. That's got a pretty cool music video. Like, this project is like bouncing from wall to wall with frenetic energy. It feels like an intensely personal project, and it's rife with her like kind of post-pop sound with some excellently produced cuts, and it's pretty cool. So,
a lot of appearances from your friend Dylan Brady.
Is that 100 Gex?
Yeah, he's in it. He's one of them.
Because, like, I just noticed that this project felt very 100 Gexy. I didn't look into the producer credits, so like an absolute dingus. I never do that.
That's all I care about. I don't care what it sounds like. It's got good producer credits.
I like looking at the genius. I like looking at the references. But there's more of that on the second project, which, spoilers, is Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and Alan the Chemist. But anyway, back to how I'm feeling now.
I wish he was my chemist.
I wish it was my chemist too. Probably give me some sick pills to beat to. Anyway, so Pink Diamond has these like Pink Diamond hits like a train. It's relentless. It comes in at max speed, and it just like she said that it's antagonistic, and antagonistic is like that's what it is. It's it just absolutely annihilates just what you might have been expecting. It's crazy. It's completely off the wall, and it's harsh. It's violent. This metallic percussion, which is throughout, and it sets the tone very well because it kind of I don't know. It's almost like a baptism of fire into the project. It's just absolutely bowls you over, and then you're kind of like, huh, it's only up from here. Not that it's bad, but
I loved Pink Diamonds. It was one of my favorites.
It's definitely standing out, but it's not one like I can only listen to it in the context of the album. It's not one I'm going to come back to like just to listen to for fun. Oh, I feel like it's essentially the second part of 100 Decibel Cloud from 100 Gex, like a bit more listenable, but for an entire song.
Because for me, the instrumental sounded like a grime instrumental. The way it was so fast and like, the way it all came in, which I loved. The hook's quite great, but for me, the verse in this one, like you said, it really sets the tone of sort of how everyone's feeling at the moment. Like, just want to feel different ways, just want to go out and do stuff. And that is a recurring theme throughout the album, obviously, as it was recorded between April and May, now that I think about it.
Yeah, and the lockdown started in
like the end of March.
It was March. Anyway, end of March, and it's now June, and it feels like I don't know any time passed. It's June. What the frick?
But for me, I really loved the sequencing of the track list.
Oh, definitely.
The album started so really abrasive.
Good. Yeah.
The album started so abrasive. From here, you went into Forever, which you've talked about already. But I'd like to stress that it really helped with the sort of the flow of the project.
Definitely.
And it's an amazing single.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It couples Pink Diamond very well. I think Pink Diamond's very,
as she said, the next song.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and Claws. It seems like there's like little triplets of songs which work well together at times on this. With the first three, the kind of middle three, Detonate Enemy, I Could Find Understand, and then like Party Few Anthems and Visions potentially. But yeah, so whereas Pink Diamond is very antagonistic, Forever is a lot more conventional, while still having this abstract metallic percussion, and Claws also keeps the pace up as well. It all has this 100 Gex like flair to it, certainly.
And it also brings up a recurring theme of how she loves and misses her boyfriend.
Yeah. Has she been with them for 7 years? Is that what 7 years is about? I think
that's only what she says, but I don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, it's impressive nonetheless. Yeah, so it's upon 7 years, like the project's kind of in full swing. It has the obscure percussion running through the whole thing, which complements the compelling vocals from Charlie.
Which track, sorry?
7 years.
Oh, okay.
And it's got some great synth keys at this like very dreamy chorus line. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Really,
I wasn't a big fan of this song.
Yeah,
I think 7 Years and Detonate.
I like Detonate actually.
Both suffer from the same annoying vocals, and I thought the lyrics were really bad as well. Like there were a lot of
I think the lyrics
bars.
Well, like the lyrics are, I think they're deliberately like very simplistic, so they can just reach a very wide audience, and like you don't have to think about them because it's more about
No, they
capturing
made me
the
eye
mood.
roll quite a bit, actually. I know that usually with a pop album, you'd have lots of co-writers, or you'd certainly bounce ideas off people, and they probably go, "No, don't say that. You could say that better."
Yeah.
Whereas this was obviously done by her alone, more or
Mm.
less, in her room or in her house. But yeah, I thought those two in particular, like on Claws, the "Juicy Just Like Clementine" lyric is also very bad, and it's stuck in my head.
I didn't hit. See, none of the lyrics stood out to me. It's not like yeah, just none of the lyrics stood out to me in this. They all seem kind of just very simplistic, and it's more about capturing the mood rather than saying any. Like the mood in itself is very poignant, rather than the message is kind of pervasive to the whole project, rather than
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something. It's more I'm gonna say something like by saying something. It's more I'm gonna say something by just making this whole thing, and this whole thing says something.
Hmm.
Uh,
But "Enemy" I liked. I thought that was a really interesting
I
idea
I
for a
don't know.
song.
Enemy is interesting. It is interesting. It follows up nicely from Destiny. That's why I think they work very well together. Like Destiny is more catchy and dream poppy, um, and then with it's asking like this question like, "Do you love me?" Which it's obviously like building some pressure inside her. And Enemy follows on it really nicely with kind of more understated pop, but with this like the obscure kind of cursed percussion on it is creating these really nice alien soundscapes across the whole thing. And yeah, is she the enemy? Is I don't know her significant other the enemy? Who is the enemy? Uh, the world is the enemy.
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
saying that I'm keeping you close, so are we enemies? Which is meant to keep your enemies closer on you, but I don't know.
But who is you?
My wife.
Okay. Um,
I
I love that
finally
you love your wife,
understand.
man.
I love that you love that I love my wife,
I love that you love that. I love that you love your wife.
and I love my wife.
I'm glad.
Now, next I've got I finally understand. I don't know if that's the case for you.
I finally don't understand. I didn't really dig it, to be honest. I
Oh,
thought this was really forgettable. Same for like C 2.0.
oh hell no! I'm gonna have to.
Well, I don't know, but yeah,
It was
April.
the weakest of the singles. I finally understand. I thought the instrumental had good bounce to it, but I didn't get
No,
much out of it, to be honest.
I really didn't get much out of it.
But C 2.0, I freaking loved that song.
Okay.
It's an anthem for anyone who misses their friends.
Ah, I get you. I get you. Don't worry.
Which now that lockdown restrictions are being eased, might not be in some parts of the world.
Yeah,
Might not be as
especially
prevalent,
distance walks
but
and
nonetheless.
yeah. Party for
Nonetheless.
you like is a step in a different direction for the project though. It's more spacey and lonesome in its soundscape, which suits its melancholic vibe. But I guess it kind of follows on from C 2.0 pretty well if that's about missing your friends. And Party for you is like, hey, I threw this whole party for you. Why
I
aren't you
hated this
here?
song.
Like, bruh. But I guess the plus isn't there because they're not allowed to be. Maybe Charlie just doesn't understand there's a lockdown going on.
Maybe. I feel like she might do.
Yeah, I'm
But
fairly certain she does.
I
Yeah, I don't
hated
know really
I
what this
hated
song's
Party for You.
about. It's definitely not my favorite song. And anthems. Here's the thing with anthems and vision. Anthems and visions. Like anthems is all about anthems. So it has, it's trying to have an anthemic kind of sound to it. But visions is far more anthemic. That's what I wanted to say on that.
Bro,
Coming back,
Anthems was my favourite song.
it's good. It's good. The sub bass behind those stabbing synths which come in is a really good touch, and the synth line itself reminds me a lot of "Where's Your Head At" by Basement Jacks. It has the same. I think it hits the same notes. It has this like the frenetic. Well, yeah, it's kind of the frenetic personal energy of the album kind of encapsulates it into one song, and like it's tragic and uncomfortable. I think the whole album is a bit tragic and uncomfortable, uh, but not in like such an uncomfortable way. If you get me, like it's not not pleasurable to listen to it, but there is this pervading sense of like, bro, I don't like being in lockdown throughout the whole thing, which is very good. I like
thought that Anthems was also really good because it sort of talks about missing the very unique experience of like clubbing and festivals, you know, just enjoying music surrounded by people you don't know and everyone's just vibing. And it sort of made me think of how weird it is that that's such a popular thing to do.
It is really, really weird. I remember like when we went out clubbing, it's just you kind of realize like 3 hours have passed and you kind of realize, what the heck? I've been stood in like the same place for 3 hours and nothing has happened. And you're just vibing. With
It's
random
all about
people
vibing.
you don't know.
And yeah, like you said,
odd.
Visions is for me it's a club ready anthem.
Definitely.
And that,
I think it's almost a love letter to the club.
and that just I really love the way that the instrumental progresses. Like the last sort of 2.5 minutes are just it going on. That was a beautiful way to end it out.
Definitely, it's so like it has all that tension that's built up steadily over the record is released at the midpoint of the track, where it does at like for the last 2.5 minutes, where it just becomes a very danceable like love letter to like DJ sets in the club and how much we miss it. And because you have the bass kicks of a club, it sounds like you're outside, and it has those that just bass kick, which just very makes you want to move, and it fades into this bridge, just like a DJ bleeding one track into another, still with this uncomfortable and antagonistic energy pervading like the whole project. But it closes on like that bass kick gets more and more distorted, and it's almost like it kind of reminds me of like chromatic aberration when that happens in like photos, but it's just like bleeding and morphing and changing, and it's kind of in a way like haunting, but in a very cool way. And it's cool. It's like this is still just a memory of the club when we can't go out, and there is a global pandemic going on. The whole world's on fire, and it's very like poignant and contemporary. You know, this is always gonna. It's like a time capsule of this pandemic, like of like an average person's experience of this pandemic. I think.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good reflection of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I've given it an 8 to a 9, but I think I'm good with an 8. Actually, it might even be a 7. I was on a bit of a high after it. I think a 7 is a good one for this.
I've gone with an 8 out of 10. I thought it was very good, given the circumstances. I thought that the weird mixing, it was sort of not quite as perfect as Charlie was, but I thought that really helped the album, especially in the first few tracks, the air quote bangers. I thought they really...
It's like a tiny bit rough around the edges, but that's exactly what you kind of want from this project. It is, it's personal. It's not manufactured in any way. It feels candid.
I also liked the runtime. It didn't even reach 40 minutes, so that was pretty great. I just thought the lyrics weren't great, and sometimes her auto-tune was a bit annoying, but I'm not a big fan of auto-tune anyway. But I think given the album was under such a strict deadline, and I remember the day before there was that picture of her with like a champagne glass in a jacuzzi. Like my album comes out tomorrow, and most of the songs haven't been mixed yet. I'm definitely not panicking.
I did not know it was on such a tight deadline.
It was like a month and a half.
Jeez. Oh my god. Okay. Fair enough. Why don't you just pull a Kanye and just like say, no, I'm not putting that out. I need to fix the mix on this one song.
Because that pisses people
She's a Chad. Yeah, Charlie's a Chad.
People hate Kanye.
Yeah. And
8 out of 10. Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah. it's very, very interesting.
Very ambitious endeavor, and
I think that anyone should listen to this. Like, it, as I said, it's gonna be, it's like a time capsule, and it just reflects the like what's going on, what we're all experiencing, just like very nicely. And on the kind of the complete opposite end of the spectrum lies Alfredo, which is a very polished, very well, like with very smooth production.
it took me forever to get the pun in the name.
What is the pun?
Alan Fred Alfredo.
Oh, that's pretty great, actually. I like that.
It's obviously it's a classy pasta dish as well.
Mm-hmm. We lost Alfredo.
So Freddie continues his run of dropping nothing
Fire.
but heat every year since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, was that Freddie or was that the
Freddie was 2018, I'm pretty sure.
It might have been You Only Live Twice then, but it wasn't the best. And for Alan the Chemist, this is his third album that he's produced solely for someone this year.
He's been so busy, and it's like the second one he's done with Freddie, like lately.
Oh, yeah, we did Fetty, didn't we? That had Currency on it as well.
Yeah, and it's
Price of Tea in China with Boldy James.
He's also done one for Action Bronson as well.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this year.
Yeah, it's not this year.
That is one of the best mixtapes of all time, though.
But this
the other day, oh man,
I love
Red Chandeliers.
This is very, 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 very cool. It's iconic, I'd say. It's very polished, just exceptionally smooth production.
Was this made in quarantine?
I think some parts were during lockdowns. I think
there were a few Corona bars, weren't there?
I think there was that, and then also like I remember seeing on Freddie's story, like he's going to the studio still, and he was like doing this. I'm fairly certain. So yeah, as the record progresses, it only gets better and better. From the very bold opener, which I will admit isn't my favorite, to I think one of the best closers of the year so far with All Glass. But yeah, 1985. It was the lead single to the project, wasn't it? I'm fairly certain it was.
For me, it was the only song I could listen to until about halfway through Friday, because for some reason Apple Music got it about a week after, or not a week, like 10 hours or something after everyone else did.
That's odd.
Vivid.
But
anyway, the sort of sample distorted guitars, I thought they were pretty great. And had some good lines like bomb you like Nagasaki.
Oh god, yeah. Well, some of the lines are like really good.
And that these people are sweet like Joe Exotic, obviously I
was looking for that one. God, everyone's favorite lockdown documentary. Yes, this is like the first time I properly like went out my way to make sure that I knew like what he was saying, like, and I just read through his bars, and some of them are just really, really cool. There's like Gibbs is like, I know him and I really appreciate him for his ability to switch up his flows. He can do very like just on a dime. He can just switch from having like doing triplet flows, like punchy staccato flows, which just like pummel you, or he can just like go and then just do a very like lackadaisical one, which is just on the cusp of every beat, and it's very, very, very like impressive to see. And he does this all over the place, and but I really came to appreciate his word plays on this project. God Is Perfect had like some really cool lines. God
Is Perfect.
God Is Perfect in its own is a very cool track.
This is my favorite song on the project.
it could be. It's up there. It's one of mine. It has this like really nice old school piano melody. This kind of
that hit gets me every time.
And it has this like
It's
ominous
so
bass
good.
behind it. Gibbs is switching up his flows on here frequently and really just showing his skill. Yeah, the outro is really chill, smoothly sliding into Scotty Beam. But the wordplays, I'm pretty sure on like the first bar it says like, yeah, the revolution is the genocide. Look, your execution will be televised, which is I'm fairly certain is it could be a lockdown bar. But so like the revolution is the genocide. Obviously, like it's a reference to the revolution will not be televised, and he brings it back on the next one, saying your execution will be televised. Also, he's saying that like the racial crimes, like the racist crimes in America, and just I don't know the situation that is present currently and has been like,
This
forever.
dropped like the day after.
Yeah, I think it was the day after like George Floyd died. It was very recently.
That couldn't have been timed much better.
Yeah, well, like was murdered, I guess. I'll wreck on that. It was yeah. So it's very like just very bold bars, and then where he says like your execution will be televised. That I don't know. The timing couldn't have been closer. You know, it's on everyone's mind. But there's this other line like across like fellas like Bubba Chuck. I never gave a fuck. And so
you keep switching between songs.
Did I? Is that on Look at Me?
No.
Scotty Beam.
Oh, is it? It might have been on Scotty Beam actually. I can't remember.
Oh, that's my bad layout. I'm rusty.
I just say that I really liked the really odd flow that Freddie started God is Perfect with.
Yeah, and he switched it up all over the place. The guy is truly like, I mean, he's a veteran, as is Alan the chemist. They're both veterans of the rap game, and
Who's Bubba Chuck?
It was a basketball player. I'm fairly certain came up on Genius, and so he's like crossing, as in he's finessing them in basket. Like he's just able to play around them, and he's double crossing them, and like, it's very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, I think Freddie's sort of very anti-police verse. The whole bit about I don't want to go to jail for smoking an officer as well. It's all very, very current.
Yeah.
And Rick Ross didn't ruin the song, so that's good.
No, Rick Ross had a pretty long verse as well. I feel like all the features had had the second half of the song was theirs to do with as they pleased.
It's a mixed results.
I think all the features are pretty good.
Oh, I didn't like Cold Maze, but anyway.
I don't mind Cold Maze Machines. But yeah, Look at Me has one of my favorite samples on the project. It's this really like smoky, dreamy, like lucid and effortless. Like Gibbs has his trademark staccato, punchy flow, and it contrasts how like just almost dreamy this sample is in the background, and it keeps it driving forward. The strings in that sample are delicious, and with this kind of jazzy gangster outro, which is obviously the vibe they're trying to go for with all the promotional art, the album artwork, and there's some samples from other other gangster shows in the background. And I mean, if you're having like a pretty and it's the jazzy outro sets the scene to Frank Lucas, but I'm sure like if you want to add anything to Look at Me, like
I just love sample-based instrumentals. I think if you want anyone to do that for you, Alan or Kanye are probably the best, or Madlib actually.
I think it's a great one. I think it's one of my favorite. I think it is my favorite. Oh, there are so many good instrumentals, but it is really one of the best ones. I really like it.
I feel like this song is almost like an interlude, though. Like Freddie plays, he does his pimp shit for 2 minutes. Doesn't seem to be a big fan of women on this song, and then it transitions into Frank Lucas, which is so sinister, just like God is Perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, isn't it crazy that this song is nearly 5 minutes long and it's
It
just
does
two
not
verses?
feel
It's
it.
two verses and no hook.
Crazy, crazy. This is this is killer. And I mean, so it's named like Frankie Lucas. It has
He was a
a
serial killer,
super
right?
violent beat. A drug trafficker, drug
Oh
kingpin
yeah.
in the US. Like American Gangster is all about him. And one of the other samples,
The
this really
Jay-Z album.
disturbing. No, the 2007 movie I think is Denzel Washington. But I don't know. We'll have to fact check that. It's yeah. I'll put it
Anyways,
up. And then there's a sample later on which is really disturbing. Of this guy talking about how he likes to sell crack, which is taken from like the prequel to American Gangster. Very cool, like little tie there. But yes, I mean this track is just it's ominous. It's violent. The kick kicks you. The snare like slaps you. And I mean, who better to have on this like badass track than Benny the Butcher?
I mean, just like when Freddie got Pusha T on Bandana. I mean,
Yep.
Freddie and Benny the Butcher are just kindred spirits, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And they both had two lines. They both had a line each on this song that really stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie, when he said, "My name's cocaine, they ain't gonna put me in the nominees," really just reminded me of our talking about the Grammys video where we said, "How the hell did Bandana not
Yeah,
get on in the nominees?" And yet that
maybe he's
Dreamville album
salty.
did and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There you go, Freddie Kane. That's
needs to be
the
salty.
reason. But for me, Benny, man, when he said, "Sold lines to abusers, now I abuse y'all with lines."
Yes. Oh my god, it's one of the best lines on this whole project, man. It's great. It's great. And
I'm not sure I've heard him give a single bad feature verse.
well,
Or a single not
yeah,
stellar
that's
feature
just
verse, even.
that line. That line makes the whole song, man. That line is crazy
That
good.
sort of
It's
sums it up
crazy good. Yeah, it really does.
perfectly.
And yeah, this beat is like very cinematic and dark, and I think because it is so full on and it is so like unrelenting, it is complemented by having a much more relaxed track to follow it, something to rap about, which is interesting. Like in that Freddie's going for like talking about his past deeds and past like encounters with the law and with crime, and how Tyler's kind of talking about how he is now, and it's just different vibes. They're both sort of looking back on things on their lives retrospectively, but obviously Tyler's completely changed his image, and Tyler has some. They both have some really good lines. Like Freddie had one which is like crime fucking pays, but once you paid, you got to pay the man, which I thought was cool. It kind of sums up his what he's going for with his verse on it, and Tyler has in his verse, which is the second half of the song, which is very summery and smooth and like neo soul, which is very like fitting for Tyler to be on. He has a couple lines where he says like has like a I'll just the line is I used to be a goblin under the bridges, now I'm a businessman, and he kind of stops and like talks. I don't know. He changes how his voicing, and it is pretty funny when he says it. And there was this other line where he was talking about how he looks like a polo ad, just like but not white. And yeah, it was cool. You know.
I had a couple things really. Firstly, I cannot believe this collaboration happened because every time Tyler the Creator posts a picture on Twitter, I always see Freddie Gibbs commenting under it, just calling him ugly or bullying him. So I just assumed that he didn't like Tyler.
Yeah, I
so
would
to
not
then,
put them in the same like
then see this happening,
circle.
it really confused me.
Yeah, and I mean,
I thought the concept of this song was hilarious, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
it's Freddie just saying, "God made me sell drugs, so I had something to rap about."
Yeah,
it's the whole basis of the song. And the other lyric I had written down, you already read out about the goblin. I just thought that was.
It was funny when it comes out.
It's ridiculous. But I noted it down. and Tyler's verse is 2.5 minutes long. That's pretty freaking crazy. Well, he starts rapping at that time, and then you don't hear Freddie again.
Yeah.
I got Yacht Rock 2 vibes from this song.
Yeah, big time Yacht Rock 2 vibes.
For two reasons. One, because of the beat being so damn luxurious, but also because Tyler keeps rapping about boats.
Yes. And he says like the beat sounds like the boat I'm gonna buy, and he said there's this other line like this lake water's cleaner than the water in my faucet.
Also, I used to drink it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Very luxurious. Yeah, that's certainly what it is. And
re-rap.
Like from there we go back into these kind of.
It's also the first time Tyler's rapped on an Alchemist beat since he was on that Domogenesis project in 2013.
Wow. And he's completely changed since then. It's just very. I guess that's why he's talking about it.
Odd Future was the thing then.
Yeah. Now they're all solos, and they're all very successful in their own rights.
Well, not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them, but some of them are. Some of them are superstars. Some of them are Frank Ocean. Yeah, Baby Shit has a very interesting instrumental. It's a lot more lo-fi. It has some hypnotic elements, cyclical. Yet with some nice crisp snares. Another like dreamy kind of track, which sort of reflects Gibbs' like flexing on the whole track. He's what you said about "Look at Me," where he's just him kind of flexing the whole thing. He's doing it again here, and he's got some. He has this crazy Doja Cat line. So he's saying things like, "Share the dick, man. A bitch got to sacrifice. Diamonds in my shit look like I'm flashing lights. Presidential. I flooded that bitch with ice. Cougar pussy. I fuck a rich fella wife. Doja Cat. Let me beat from the back or bike. He says, like, and that Doja Cat line is in it three times. I wonder if it happened after she got like. Everyone says she got cancelled. I don't think she really got cancelled, but like after
I think it's irrelevant.
Really?
Yeah, he's just saying that she's hot.
Yeah.
I think that's all that is to it.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. It's
I really like the strings on this song.
Yeah. I like the. It's a chill track. It's a chill track.
More forgettable ones for me. Like, I think besides the Doja Cat line, I can't really remember much that happens.
Yeah, the Doja Cat line is really the only interesting part.
But then we transition into the only song I didn't like on the album. Sorry, did you have more to say?
Wait, is it at the end of this that there's the really disturbing outro?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. There was the Doja Cat line and that make it stand out, but besides that, yeah, it's pretty.
This is the only thing I don't like about Alchemist produced projects. There's always loads of like skits taken from other things. Like, I love his instrumentals. I think he's one of the best beatsmiths around. I always listen to something when he's produced it, but when he does full projects, they just get like the flow of the songs gets broken down so much by all these really long clips from like gangster movies or
these clips are
or whatever.
Long. They're really long.
I thought this one worked, but there are a lot of other ones that just sort of ruin the flow for me.
I mean, I thought they were interludes. Like they are very long. They're like at least 30 seconds to nearing a minute, which is like, bro, that's cutting into your song there.
I was vibing. I'm sort of just standing.
I was vibing. Yeah,
it
was good.
To some mobster talk about.
You're pretty damn disturbing, dude.
He loves crack babies.
Yeah. Yeah, it adds to the gangster aesthetic as well as like touching on like where racism is brought up in some of Gibbs' bars earlier, but it's not that prevalent to the whole project. I think more. I don't know. I think the project's more going for like gangster flexing than making like comments about race relations. But dude, when it came out, like it's come out at a very interesting time. Yeah, the next track, Babies and Fools, is pretty forgettable. I really don't have anything on it, if I'm honest.
Good.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like from other reviews I've seen, really love this song.
Mm.
But for me, like Conway rapping about how he's not a good dad doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, that is really all his verses.
Yeah, it's just they're like, oh well, it's introspective. Be a good
Dude.
dad.
Yeah, I hope he did after this. If he
Yeah.
had, now that he had that
I mean, he did
introspection.
at least have a bit of remorse there. Like, I need to be better. But God damn it,
Dude, I'm a listener. I'm not your therapist, dude. Like, come on, come on. Although sometimes that's pretty much all 444 is. It's just Jay-Z saying like,
I'm a bad
"Bro,
husband.
I'm a bad husband." Yeah,
I'm
try
not a
to
bad
make it
husband,
work
though.
sometimes. No, you love your wife, and I love that you love your wife.
But I also didn't really like the instrumental in this one either. I thought so when you got the sort of vocal sample based instrumental, you've got when it's done really well on what's the joint called? Look at Me, not
Yeah.
XXX Tentacion, of course. And then this song where they kept on like, I really hate it when there's like a sample in the background and then people cut off their verse to let the sample say it instead.
I like it when they do that. We're gonna have to
I
agree
don't
to
know, it
disagree on
just
that.
rubs me the wrong way.
It rubs me
Yeah,
the right way.
I just didn't like
Yeah,
this song very much.
yeah, it's fair play, fair play. What do you think of Skinny Sugar though?
It
Apparently,
was devastating.
yeah,
One of the saddest verses he's ever written.
yeah, it's like there's some real harsh realities, and that's why like it kicks off with like kind of less. It just gets like very dark towards the end, and very dark. But so yeah, apparently Gibbs's Twitter handle is Skinny Shug.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so because he's depicting the harshness of life, where like he's from growing up and stuff. So when he's talking at the start about how he put down the crack and bet on himself, like he went back to the future with a rap almanac, is like the lyric. Yeah, it really gives it a lot more poignance. Because he's talking about like this his friend gets locked up, and his like his baby mama just ODs while he's away, and it's really disturbing. Yeah, it's where a lot of the tracks don't really go there. It really goes there on this track, and
He has like one song on every project that goes there.
I haven't noticed it before. Probably going back, I will now.
Like the Freddy
Yeah.
closer, there was that one about him being unfaithful on Bandana as well. I can't think of any others, but he usually has like one joint where he just goes full introspection.
Yeah, and
then it also flowed really nicely into
All Glass. Yeah, which is
hard.
It's hard. The vibe is it's almost like celebratory, which is it's a great closer, and I think it provides some levity to Skinny Shug. If it closed on Skinny Shug, man, it'd be such a downer ending. Whereas All Glass kind of brings it all back together, comes back to that gangster vibe, and it closes. It closes with a sample like The Alchemist is taking it from Breaking Bad, where like spoiler for a nearly decade-old show, like Walter White like freaking blows up Tuco with some meth that wasn't meth. That's what happens at the end when it explodes. Like, it's cool, man. It's cool. Well, Tuco doesn't die. Oh fuck it, I spoiled it. But it's cool. Like that's why it's all glass. I'm talking about like meth, all glass, Walter White. It's cool.
Was it blue though?
No, it wasn't at that point in the show. He's just
Was it not?
no. I mean, it is blue, but that happens later on. Yeah, but I thought it was a great closer, man. It kind of ties everything together, and it comes back, and it ends on like, kind of just badassery rather than like, oh my god. This
I
is a
thought it
downer.
was like a good song, but it didn't really like tie anything off for me. It was just sort of, oh, is it
I
done
think
now?
when it's kind of loosely tying things up. It's not that tight a project.
Yeah, it did
It's
sort of
kind of,
bounce around from
but
hip
it
hop
seems like
track
it
to
returns to where it
synth.
started, if you know what I mean, in
Yeah,
regards to the mood sort of thing. But yeah, so with some like almost like yeah, genius wordplays, excellent flows, and all the panache of veterans. Alfredo like is it's like near a masterstroke for the pair, and I think it's gonna age well. It's good. It's very good. It's it's neither's best, but it's very good, you know. And it's cool. There's not that much coming out, I don't think, lately. So I'm glad that we got these two really good albums during these just very odd, strange times. You know, I've given it. I think I'm going to give it a 7. To be honest, the same as Charlie.
I think if you look at this project, it sort of summed up a thought that I hadn't really thought of before. That Freddie Gibbs doesn't have a type beat. Like, what
No,
would his type beat be? Because you got
it's all over the
songs
place, man.
like 1985, which is like a sort of guitar, and then literally the next song is this really sinister, amazing God is perfect. I mean,
And yet,
God is perfect is perfect.
and yeah,
I
he could
think
also
it might be
like
my favorite Freddie Gibbs song.
that's saying something. That's it. I think
And I think it just sort of sums up this really phenomenal streak that he's been on recently.
yeah, definitely,
Like, he's
definitely.
killing it on Instagram. Where does he find these videos? I'd love to know.
um, yeah,
But
he's definitely been like
he's
putting out
killing
just
the
heat.
music as well. Like, he had
Yeah,
Freddie and Fetty in the same year. Then
bandana,
we had Bandana. Now we got this. Goddamn.
Alfredo. It's very good. He's definitely like cemented himself as one of my favorite rappers, and
I
he's
think
only getting better. He's only
rapping
getting
right
better.
now, he's got to be top three
Yeah.
for me.
He's gonna be one of the best like
Probably
in
like him,
that game.
Kendrick, Danny Brown, Earl Sweatshirt.
Mm. But like unlike All Sweatshirt, like you can put Freddie Gibbs on and he's not gonna scare the holes, as it were.
I don't know. He might skip
Um
those, to be fair.
it might. Depends what you put on.
But
But
yeah, I thought production pretty spot on throughout.
I
The
think
only thing I didn't
if the
like really,
production wasn't spot on for an Alchemist project, something would be amiss.
I agree. There'd have to be a inquiry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Gonna have
think
to order
apart
this project.
from the Conway feature, there wasn't really anything I didn't like.
Poor Conway the
Um,
Machine, man.
I mean, I kind of hate.
He is the weakest link on this project.
I don't want to be beating the man down for.
No.
He's admitted his flaws at least, but I just didn't want. I didn't need to hear that shit.
I thought you meant he's admitted that he's not good on the project.
No, I didn't.
I want to hear him say, "I bring this project down,"
I want
and
him
then
to
I'll be
apologize.
happy. I want a formal apology, Mister Machine.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you were that bad, man. I thought it
That
was cool.
verse and the interludes are the only thing holding it back from being perfect in my eyes.
Yeah,
For that
it's
reason,
so close to perfect, man.
I'm giving
So
it a
close.
9 out of 10.
Wow.
I really did need a project like this. And as soon as I saw it was coming out, I dropped everything I was doing. I told people that didn't even know what a Freddie Gibbs was that it was coming out.
Whoa, who are these people? They should know
Oh,
what
just people I work with.
you should know who Freddie Gibbs is.
You know, you're scrolling through the feed and then, what? Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs are dropping a project?
We love
What?
Mr. Gibbs, and we love Sound the
Gibbs.
Chemist. Yeah,
It's a
Cane
dream
Train.
pairing.
Cane Train.
Like, check.
We're on the Cane Train. I think I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's so close to like I want it to be like perfect, and it's not perfect. I don't like how it kind of, and I really want to hear them do something again, which is tighter, and I really think it could be a 10, man. They could so do a 10 together if it's just tighter and it's not quite so like loose.
Yeah,
With,
'cause
like,
it did sort of bounce around a bit, like it was
the vibe was
hip hop
off.
track, sinister hip hop track, for a drug dealer track, then
So
chill soul track. Then
like,
same thing again.
I understand why they're like secrets the way they are is to provide levity, but still, like, I don't know. I think just pick a vibe, and just go all the way. Like with those much shorter EPs by Bunny the Butcher and I forget his name, but Wapcon George, like
Tommy,
Makami, like those two.
he's the final member of my top 5. Makami.
Like they picked a vibe and they just went with it, and they absolutely delivered. And I really think if they just picked the vibe, it would be a 10, man. But I think that rounds us
Just
off
the
for
9
today.
for me.
It's an 8 from me. I've been Tim,
I've been Tom.
and you are probably still in lockdown. I really hope you're doing well. But yeah,
Oh, Belarus, sorry, as well. Never went into lockdown.
we stand Belarus.
We certainly do.
Belarus and Slovakia, we stand them. But yeah,
We stand the whole East.
You've been podcasted, and I do hope we brought some levity to what are some trying times. And we hope that you're staying safe, you're washing your hands, you're distancing, and stay safe.
Do yourself a favor. Hug a stranger.
Do yourself a favor. Listen to one of these albums. Okay. Arrivederci.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I was gonna say, you're gonna say goodbye. Alright. See you.